So, I know many of you have watched or heard of Dan Doofus. You know, this bluish Happy Tree Friends prototype or look-alike that isn't really Happy Tree Friends at all. Of course, being Flash animation. Teaching you what not to do that could cause anything to set on fire. Many of you probably heard of this. Most of you did not. Since this was a show or safety videos that were from the NFPA, they are not really entertaining and have a good enough of value since many people know what they're doing by the day standards because of smoke detectors that you have to replace every 10 years. Possibly those things would absolutely be hacked instead so they can last more of a lifetime than 10 boring years. What I'm talking about here is from an episode of this show that was absolutely removed from the NFPA, possibly due to its dark nature. The year was 2011, and I always have a normal day, even a school day, in my hometown of Texas, and having friends I enjoy. We play games, even Toontown online, and talking about ideas of using handycams to make movies such as what Cinemassacre did. One day, one of my friends told me about his 5-year-old brother, about him getting in trouble at kindergarten or preschool for a false alarm, and now is basically upset all day. My friend said about his 5-year-old what was causing him to being upset. The 5-year-old replied by saying, I had to be forced to watch this creepy fire safety video about this for what I've done. My friend thought firefighters would give you a nice talking. They wouldn't be happy of what you did because it could put lives at risk. But firefighters will still be your friends. Lesson learned. But the 5-year-old replied by saying, firefighters are not my friends. I have a fear of them. I don't want to see them again. At all. Please leave this room. My friend was kind of suspicious of what was going on with the fire department and decided to go there. I came with him to the fire department and we asked one of the firemen where they found that video and showed one of my friend's 5-year-old that video. They told me it was a Dan Doofus episode video that it was found on a Mediafire link under title name DoofusDisgrace.avi, otherwise known as Sparky vs. Doofus. We smiled at the fire chief, and we went back home with our bikes. I got back to my house, as well as my friend in my house as well. We ran up to the room, and I got my laptop and booted into Windows, got onto Chrome, and went on Mediafire and typed in Doofus Disgrace. The link was there. I opened the file and both my friend and I were watching this of what was actually going on. It starts out as a normal Dan Doofus video with that smiling purple thing that looks like a Tom and Jerry cartoon. It's Happy Tree Friends. The episode was entitled False Alarm Disgracement. Then it starts at a convention center with cars filled up in the parking lot. But inside the convention center, It shows Dan Doofus in what looks like a deserted convention room. The narrator was speaking to him, except it wasn't the original narrator of the show. Instead, it was the narrator from the Happy Tree Friends Copyright School video. You know what I mean about that narrator from HTF. Doofus is walking around in this empty convention room. He sees a fire alarm trigger. He was basically so curious what it could do. He think it could cause a water park to erode from this place. Of course, I know it won't. Doofus pulls the trigger with no one looking at him. The fire alarm set it off, and the narrator was so pissed off at him, possibly good enough, and saying, "Doofus, you're not supposed to do that. You just put lives at risk." And you can see Doofus frowning and his head down. The narrator said, "Pulling down fire alarms, even when there's not a fire, could get you in trouble and with severe criminal penalties. It may be zero tolerance." And the shock horror A sound played. That stupid sound effect I hate. Outside of the convention center, an International Lone Star fire truck comes and stops. Then it switches inside, where we see Doofus getting yelled at by the narrator still, while the water from the sprinklers were soaking him. A door opens, and a firefighter was coming in. Except this wasn't a firefighter. It was Sparky in CG. Not Sparky the Sun Devil, but the fire dog, saying, "Yup, that's right, people. Pulling down a fire alarm is a felony or misdemeanor offense. Even pranksters are not lucky. Some are violations, but other are these charges. And all of them have mystery ink. So we can get the police and track you down and see what you're doing to death, like in George Orwell's 1984. Sparky goes to the wall, and the wall had a lever. Sparky pulls this lever. Dan Doofus was standing on a trapdoor. The trapdoor opened, and Doofus was falling down the hole, which he ended up going straight to hell. We see Dan Doofus wake up in hell, and he's tied to some fancy Bob's Discount furniture and absolutely scared. The CGI Sparky came back, but he was a little different. He had a devil tail and devil horns through his helmet. Kind of reminds me of that Brave Little Toaster scene of that clown firefighter saying, "Run!" Creepy music was playing in the background, like if it was from SpongeBob. Sparky then came up to the camera, saying that offenders should be punished for actions that put people at risk. And this dumb-witted guy doesn't know that, but you should know better. This guy is going away for good. I had to pause the video. My friend and I were absolutely confused and starting to get freaked out of what's going on. Like they're taking this too far. I resumed it. We see Dan Doofus in an absolutely fearing face. Like he's so scared. The CGI Sparky pulled out an axe. We see Doofus shaking his head no. Then it switches to Sparky shaking his head yes. Sparky gets close to Doofus, smiling. Doofus is screaming. At this point, the music that is creepy gets way severe, and we see Sparky's teeth opening up like he's happy, and seeing Doofus screaming in horror as Sparky is getting close to him. Doofus's eyes were so bloodshot he couldn't even take it anymore. Sparky gets to him. He lifted up his axe and threw down on Dan Doofus. Doofus screamed as his eyes became wide open. The video gets cut to black by the end, like The Sopranos did it. Then the message says, "Life isn't a cartoon," like you would normally see in a Dan Doofus ending, but it said, "It is a serious crime to pull the fire alarm when there's no fire, and may subject the offender to civil liability and severe criminal penalties. Don't be a doofus." Learn more about fire safety of this subject at www.nfpa.org/FFA, or just false fire alarm. The video ended. VLC media player closed. Me and my friend were shocked. I felt sick to my stomach after this. I ran into the bathroom to puke. I told my friend that may be the video that made his 5-year-old brother afraid of firefighters forever. And this video may have possibly ruined his life. I had to break up with my friend for a little while of what we saw. 2 weeks later, we've been reunited again. After what we saw at school today, we had to tell our friends at lunch over this, and everyone at the table did agree with us. One of them said one of his relatives that basically lives in Colorado, where one of their children, one being 8 years old, pulled the fire alarm and was sent to the principal's office to watch this video. He's been scared of the fire department, firefighters, and fire trucks ever since he watched that video. Whenever he was at an event, for example, a fairground, there will be firemen there. One of the firemen said hi to the boy. The boy got really upset. He burst into tears and ran away and hugged his parents and was screaming at them, "I don't want to see them again." We said, "Oh my God, that's sad." We have the same issue with one of my friends, 5-year-old. 1 month later, my friend's 5-year-old, basically, he ran away from town. Now the police are trying to find him and return him home safely. He was found and brought home. My friend's parents says to the 5-year-old, "Why did you run away?" The 5-year-old replied, "Because of the fire safety video, telling me I'm a bad person now for what I've done." On Wednesday at school, we had an assembly, and yes, it was about this, where the school said that my friend's 5-year-old brother was afraid of firefighters and everything that has to do with fire-saving heroes, possibly being scared of them forever due to this video. But he's not alone. Over 100 to 500 and even 1,000 children are afraid of firefighters due to false alarms caused by them. Basically, age ranges from 2 to at least 9. The chief of the fire department quitted his job after this. Let me clarify that the file is not deleted. It's still out there, but it's no longer available on MediaFire. It's now on a different site today. But if there was any children who did make a false alarm from 2 to 9, this video will not solve your problems and may cause more damage than good.